The dollhouse had been in my family for generations, passed down from mother to daughter. It was a beautiful, intricately crafted Victorian-style dollhouse, complete with miniature furniture and dolls that seemed to come alive with a charm of their own. As a child, I had spent countless hours playing with it, creating imaginary worlds and stories within its tiny walls. But as I grew older, the dollhouse lost its allure. It found a place in the attic, gathering dust and memories of my childhood. I had long forgotten about it until one fateful day when my mother passed away, leaving me the sole inheritor of the family estate. I returned to the old house, filled with a mix of grief and nostalgia. The attic was the last place I wanted to visit, but I knew there were memories waiting for me there. As I climbed the creaky staircase and opened the attic door, I felt an odd sensation wash over me, as if I were being watched. Among the dusty boxes and forgotten relics, I saw the dollhouse. It was as beautiful as I remembered, but there was something different about it. The dolls seemed to be staring at me with lifeless eyes, and the once charming decor now held an unsettling aura. Brushing off the uneasy feeling, I decided to take the dollhouse with me, not wanting it to be lost or discarded. Little did I know that this decision would awaken a nightmare that had been dormant for years. As I placed the dollhouse in my bedroom, I felt a strange presence in the room, as if the walls were whispering secrets to one another. Night after night, I would wake up to the sound of footsteps, but whenever I checked, there was nothing there. The dolls in the dollhouse seemed to move on their own, changing positions as if they were alive. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but as the occurrences became more frequent, I couldn't deny the truth. One night, as I lay in bed, I saw a faint light emanating from the dollhouse. I rubbed my eyes, thinking it was a trick of the moonlight, but the glow grew brighter, and the dolls seemed to be dancing within the miniature rooms. Fear gripped my heart as I watched the dolls move in eerie synchrony. They were no longer the innocent toys I had played with in my childhood. They were something else entirely, something sinister. Unable to bear the sight any longer, I shut my eyes tightly, hoping that when I opened them again, the nightmare would be over. But when I finally mustered the courage to look, the dollhouse was as still as before, the dolls frozen in their places. My nights became plagued with nightmares, filled with visions of the dolls coming to life, their lifeless eyes locking with mine as they beckoned me closer. I tried to convince myself that it was all in my head, that the grief of losing my mother was playing tricks on my mind. But deep down, I knew there was something more to the haunting. Desperate for answers, I sought the help of a psychic, hoping she could shed some light on the strange occurrences. As she entered my bedroom, she gasped, her eyes fixated on the dollhouse. "This dollhouse. It holds a dark secret," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. "This dollhouse is a vessel for restless spirits. It was crafted with a malevolent energy, binding the souls of those who suffered within its walls," she explained. I shuddered at her words, realizing that the dollhouse was not just a simple toy, but a portal to a haunting past. The psychic conducted a seance, attempting to communicate with the spirits trapped inside the dollhouse. As she called out to them, the atmosphere in the room grew heavy, and a cold wind swept through the air. The dolls in the dollhouse began to move, their tiny limbs twitching as if they were trying to break free from their lifeless forms. It was a chilling sight, and I could feel the malevolence emanating from the dollhouse. As the psychic continued the seance, the dollhouse seemed to come alive. The dolls moved with an eerie fluidity, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. They spoke in hushed whispers, their voices a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. The spirits within the dollhouse told their tragic tales, stories of pain, suffering, and despair. They were souls who had been wronged, seeking revenge on the living for the injustices they had endured. With each passing moment, the haunting intensified, and I realized that I had inadvertently unleashed a nightmare come true. The malevolent spirits were no longer confined to the dollhouse. They were seeping into the real world, and their thirst for vengeance knew no bounds. As the haunting spread, I knew I had to find a way to put an end to the nightmare. With the help of the psychic, I delved deeper into the dollhouse's dark past, uncovering the stories of the souls trapped within. One by one, we offered the spirits a chance to find peace, to release their anger and sorrow. It was a risky endeavor, and the malevolence they harbored threatened to consume us. but we persevered, driven by the hope of breaking the cycle of torment. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the dollhouse grew still, and the haunting ceased. The malevolent spirits had found their release, and the dollhouse returned to its former state, a mere toy once again. But the nightmare would forever be etched into my memory. I had come face to face with the malevolence that lurked in the shadows, the darkness that could be unleashed with a simple object. The dollhouse now sits in a corner of the attic, gathering dust once more. I keep it as a reminder of the horrors I faced, and the price of curiosity. The nightmare had come true, and it was a haunting that would stay with me for the rest of my life.